when it comes to resale liquidity. And what that can include, let's make sure we pick up the right tool again. It can include potentially reacting here, maybe reacting there, chopping around a bit, maybe making an equal high, etc. And then coming lower, building liquidity, coming higher, etc. Something along those lines. Again, that is a little bit brief, but just to bear in mind to understand the story, that's really, really key. So do keep that one in mind. However, at this specific point, we're not going to make anything up. We're going to play with what we see, or should I say trade what we see. And the question is medium inducement zones. We did technically mark up one here. We do have this point here. I did draw it up as liquidity, but in terms of inducement zone, we can, of course, aim below this potential POI, right? That's liquidity. This is a potential inducement zone. You can also mark up below that. But again, when it comes to intraday and possibly the first or second market intention of the day, I want to go in steps. So this could be the second one. So I could write second potential medium inducement. See, so perfect. And you, of course, should know what the one above that is. It's going to be your first potential inducement. So, not sure what happens with my capitals. I'm going to write medium. Inducement. Oh my god, damn. Not sure what's going on there with my spelling all of a sudden. So we have two potential medium inducement zones. So one to the high side as well. Potential second one, potential first one. We're going to play out the story in steps. Keep in mind when it comes to market intentions throughout the day. So first market intention, we may not possibly come down here. However, what we can potentially expect is our next point over here. Have you identified potential POIs? We potentially may actually mitigate in here. I'm not going to actually refine this to a 1M. I'm going to keep it to a 5M purely because I will not take this as a mitigation regardless. I need to wait for lower time frame confirmation. 5M, it's a pretty big zone. We can even check on 1M if we have to for something that's a bit more refined. So something a bit more refined is down here. We will just mark that up for argument's sake. Again, we're not smart money traders, so we don't just randomly guess POIs and say like it must mitigate over here. Well, it might not. That's why we don't do it. So in this case, I'll just mark that up as 1M in the middle of it all. So 1M potential POI. Oh, what's going on there? Let's just put that at the bottom so it's out of the way a little bit. So overall, it's a 5M. I just want to see potentially a reaction within this area in order for me to potentially trade it. And even then, I need my confidences. So without continuing further, we do need to actually check them off. So we did do our medium inducement. POIs, well, let's check if we're finished. To the high side, this is an interesting one because I do not expect, let's go here, that one so much to be a POI. It depends. We can mark it up. It's going to depend on what price does first. So we have a potential one there. If price, for example, induces high, oh my god, damn, I did that one again. Okay, my bad. So if price, whatever, does something like this, reacts, we get our confirmations for us to take sales, then potentially we can, of course, take sales and then maybe mitigate here again, confirmation, continue, etc. And then, of course, break through completely. I can't really do that just yet because, yeah, it's in the way, but it really depends what we actually get straight off the Asia to know what may be the POI and what may be the smart money trap. So I will mark up both zones. So again, we're not having a specific bias. We are open. There is liquidity to both sides. I will get onto that once I've taken POIs. So the next question is, Liquidity. So have you identified in which direction are they creating liquidity? Okay, let's mark up liquidity. I think it's one liquidity point here is pretty clear. You can probably identify this huge amount of double tops. I did just extend it because it is the high, so it does make sense regardless. Now, to the downside, do we have anything as well? We technically do get some sort of trend line formation. It may continue as we get outside of Asia. Again, it's a matter of waiting and seeing what's going on. I can't predict that just yet. I simply need to wait. So liquidity-wise, from a basic level, we have marked up pretty clear liquidity. We don't need to go in depth and mark up these points over here because they are outside of the window anyways. They should not matter. You do get your inducement low. That's completely fine, but we are not going to mark up those bits because they're not relevant just yet. So let's take that one off. Liquidity. Next question. Have they induced Asia range? This is the matter of where we need to actually now continue price action. So let's continue what's going on here. Ooh, okay, so already I can tell you we have continued that trend line. Again, it's not perfect, but it's overall pretty clear that price is building liquidity, early buyers getting into the market. From what we can quite literally see right now, price has induced Asia high. So potentially expect price to come lower. Again, if it hits anywhere in this overall zone, whether it's refined or not, we still need to wait anyways. So that being said, we can go on 1M. If 1M does actually come back to mitigate this POI over here, so we can refine that quite nicely to a 1M. If price does give us a relevant break of structure, only to then mitigate, for example, we continue down here, get our relevant break of structure of this point, come back to mitigate, then of course we can at minimum even target this point as opposed to just the Asia range. So we can extend our nice risk to reward in that case. Again, we need to wait and see. So we have, of course, induced outside of Asia range, so we can actually tick that one in this case. Again, it's going to depend on both sides. We have two sides of Asia range, so I'm not going to go too in depth when it comes to that just yet. I need to see the whole story play of, are we actually taking sells? Are we taking buys? Are we able to take both and capitalize? It's going to depend quite literally as we speed things along and see what price is doing. Okay, that's your smart money trap. Why? Are we going to really create this trend line forever? Likelihood is not. So anyone that takes that, they get induced. So yes, you get induced. Okay. Okay, from this point, it actually looks like price may not actually come back up here, considering we are literally just a few moments away from Asia low. So the chances are now, again, combined momentum mitigation, you will probably be able to see this as a smart money trap if price does not get back here before inducing Asia low, potentially in this POI, because then there's no real target. So for now, I have marked it up pretty early. Actually, we could quite literally reverse. So let's actually just see what price does. Yeah, the chances are that's going to be a smart money trap upon reversal. So sells looks like we just missed them. Buys, potentially we can, of course, expect something. Again, I am not so eager just to take a buy if it reacts anywhere in here. That is a ridiculous zone. So I am not in a fuss. We're just going to wait and see what price does. Okay, it's creating liquidity at the lows, creating this support or whatever you call it, equal lows, etc. And before you know it, we induced right outside of that one. So looks like price is forming liquidity. It's not so clear exactly. I could just mark up some lines like such, like that. But I'd rather just wait for liquidity to form because I can't be entirely sure what's going on there. So we may, in fact, have a build of liquidity inducement